I was thinking, you know, oh, I'll record ACDC's like Hell's Bells or something and like superimpose my voice on it. So it's like you got me ringing hell in a cell. I was gonna put my voice in like that, and then the music play that'd be my intro. I'd be like, "How's it going, everybody? Doctor Danger's Lingual Deluxe podcast at Podbean.com and blah 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 blah." But you know what? I don't feel like doing that because I. It is as of recording this. It is 10:02. Hell in a Cell wrapped up 2 hours ago, and I finally now feel like I am able to actually properly articulate my feelings about this pay-per-view to you, the listener audio people. I know I'm small time and everything. In fact, I'm less than small time. But you know what? I need to. This is cathartic. This is therapy right now. I need to get this off my chest. And you know what? I hate being overly negative about WWE. I hate being hypercritical about them because you know what? There's a million places you can go out on the internet, on YouTube. There's Wrestling Observer Live. You got Wrestle Talk, What Culture. You got Going in Raw. You've got all these dudes, and Cultaholics, and a million others I'm forgetting, where they accentuate the negative or hyper criticize WWE, and there's a few that only see the positives blindly and whatever. And you know what? I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to be fair and I want to be objective. But the key to being fair and objective is that you be honest. And I'm going to be honest with you right now. This is the first WWE pay per view in a long ass time that I have been like, I've gotten this level of a negative emotional reaction from. I can think of times I got this reaction when I was a kid and I still believed in kayfabe. Like when I was a little kid and Edge cashed in the Money in the Bank on John Cena New Year's Revolution in, what was that, 2006 or something? That pissed me off. I was like, fuck you, Edge. But, that was different. This is now. I can't think of a time I was, even during the Yes Movement, before WWE finally got behind it, and they were screwing Daniel Bryan left and right, left and right. I didn't get this pissed at that. I didn't get that pissed at Dolph when they did Zack Ryder dirty. None of that. But this takes the cake. This is the big enchilada. They fucked up the Fiend. Maybe. I don't know. This could go one of two ways. And I'll talk more about this when we get to the main event. I wrote notes about the show. We'll talk about it. I've already listened to most of Brian and Vinny's review about it. I'm going to adopt their euphemism for the show and redub it shit in a cell. Because look, there are times where WWE has subpar or average cards, and I can be like, you know what? Maybe it's a little better than it was because either I enjoyed it, I didn't hate it, or maybe I got some enjoyment either because it's so bad it's good, or maybe it wasn't that bad, but it was at least entertaining. Entertaining. And I just. But let's talk about it. I didn't watch the pre-show. I worked today and I wanted to rewind it and watched it. But again, the ending racked me, so I was not able to. Okay, so it starts off with this cheesy intro package. It's got these creepy spoken word things spoken by a child. Something tells me that they just, maybe someone or Triple H probably just really liked the Enter Sandman music video and they like that audio visual thing. There's pyro flames and lasers, and then it kicks off with Sasha and Bayley. I like this match, honestly. They hit each other pretty hard. They had some cool spots. Sasha knocked Becky out of the cage before it finished lowering, beat her up, and then threw her back in when she went to taunt. So I thought maybe that was going to play into Bayley coming out and then attacking Becky with Sasha, but that didn't happen. Whatever. Then Becky grabs a chain, hits her in the gut, in the back, and drags her across the cage. There's a spot where it looks like Sasha kicks Becky straight in the uterus, and they're dead ass doing headshots. We're talking weapons in people's faces. There's a part where Sasha does the Meteora when Becky's against the ladder. It looks like she broke her goddamn neck. Skipping ahead to the end, there was one kind of neat spot where Becky Lynch stuck these 3 kendo sticks in the cage and then put a chair in there, set Sasha on the cage, who jumped up on the ring apron, and then drop kicked her. I thought she was going to like cross body her and then the sticks and chair would break, but no, just drop kicked her. But it was still a neat spot. And I'd be lying if I said that at the time I didn't really kind of dig this match. So the finish came. Sasha threw a bunch of chairs in the ring, a la ECW, and and then they do some moves. Becky T-bone suplexes her off the top rope onto the pile of chairs, taps her out with the disarm her. It was pretty good, and there were some creative spots. Sasha cried when she lost for some reason. IDKY, LOL. I gave it 3.75 stars. Next was what was essentially the Bludgeon Brothers versus Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, or as I called them, the Planet's Big Dog. So Eric Rowan was wearing a Parkway Drive shirt, and Luke Harper was wearing a Snapcase shirt. Both East Coast metal bands, but two very, very different kind of metal bands. Snapcase is more of a punk band. So it starts off, explosive and fierce, bunch of hard shots. They're throwing each other around. There's genuinely not that much to review in terms of spots because it's three big hosses and Daniel Bryan, and this isn't an insult to them because they do their stuff well. But Daniel Bryan's got a decent sized arsenal, but the other guys, they don't have crazy, crazy big arsenals because Eric Rowan's the kind of guy that he needs to throw people around. Luke Harper can work with most people. He's deceptively versatile. And Roman Reigns, when he's with the right person, he can have quite a good match. Honestly, if Roman Reigns was in the Ruthless Aggression era with John Cena and Randy Orton, he would have been really over because back then you had a lot, pretty much everyone in Ruthless Aggression knew how to adapt to each other's styles. But nowadays, WWE conforms them all to their one style, even though they have these, everyone comes from a very big style now, even though for the most part, most wrestling I find tends to be rooted in that New Japan cruiserweight strong style, stiff shots, stiff chops, no selling Canadian destroyers type of thing. Anyway, that's another tangent. My favorite spot was the Bludgeon Brothers tear apart the tables and barricades. They literally smash Roman Reigns with a piece of a barricade wall against another barricade. They tear apart the table and they stand Daniel Bryan up on it. They both get on top. They're going to put him through it. But it's kind of funny. Daniel Bryan, Hurricanrana counters Harper away off the table. Hurricanrana's him off the table. Roman Reigns comes out of nowhere, spears him. In the finish comes, Harper's got Bryan in the ring, and and they're going back and forth. Harper powerbombs him, but Roman saves Bryan with a Superman punch. Then Bryan hits him with a knee, and then Roman hits him with a spear, and then that eats the pin for DB and RR. I gave this one 3.5. I like everyone in this match, but it was maybe just a little too slow. If they were going to do this match, I think what would have helped is if they made it no disqualification. I know it. There's always that joke, well, even if it's no disqualification, even if there is disqualification, why is it a no DQ if they put him through a table? And to answer your question, I don't know. Oh, and then after the match, they both simultaneously pull a Team Hell No / a Best Friends, a.k.a. Chucky T and Trent Boyette, I think his name is. And so Roman goes to shake Daniel's hand. Daniel refuses. But then he extends his arms to hug, and then Roman's like, and then crowd's like, boo, then they hug, and, that was kind of neat. There's an interview with Seth. It was cheesy, but it was okay. Then there was Ali and Orton in an unannounced match. You know what? To give him credit, because Orton needs to be motivated to do a good job, Orton actually worked really good for Ali. He didn't move at a super tortoise pace, and he let Ali move when he needed to. He did put Ali in a chin lock, but only one, and Orton's actually a good heel and knows how to actually put on an oppressive chin lock, so it was fine. It was kind of funny. I was watching with a friend of mine, and he was joking like, bro, Ali moves so fast, but Orton moves so slow, yet they're such at opposite ends of each other. They're able to match each other perfectly, and that's one thing I noticed. The timing, there was some beautiful timing in this short match. The end result was Ali countered the RKO in a unique way. People have countered the RKO before, but not quite like this, at least that I can recall. And almost got a near fall, but he ate the RKO after trying to do a move. It was a pretty good match despite no build-up. I gave it 3.5. Next was Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, and Kairi Sane and Asuka, the Kabuki Warriors. So I didn't expect to enjoy this as much as I did, but I did, partially because... So my friend I was watching with told me before the match that apparently the Kabuki Warriors have some kind of phantom heel turn. I guess he was on Brian Alvarez's Twitter. And I guess that meant they just hit each other harder and faster, which is what they did, and it ruled. They were smacking dem white gals all around the place. There was a spot where Kyrie struts over to Nikki Cross and then pokes her in the eyes, and then this made me metaphorically do a fucking backflip. Asuka spits green mist at Nikki Cross and pins her, and the Kabuki Warriors win. I was like, what? Huh? Okay? Excuse me? This match was way more fun than I thought it'd be, and I'm really, really happy the Kabuki Warriors won. The crowd was too. I gave it 3.75. Realistically, this is probably only a 3.25 star, but you know what? Just for the hype, I give it that. Next was the OC and the versus the Viking Raiders and Braun Strowman in an unannounced match. Because I don't know if any you heard about this, you probably did because everyone's talking about it. There were only 4 matches announced: the 2 women's match, the Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Eric Rowan, Luke Harper match, and then the Fiend versus Seth Rollins. God, even saying the name Fiend or Seth Rollins just brings up a pit of bitterness in my fucking soul. So anyway, during this tag team match, I was distracted because me and my friend and I was watching it. We got into some dumb argument about the May 19th storyline with Kane and Kerwin White, and then he was telling me about how he saw Obituary, this old death metal band, and then I looked up 1 second, and it was like, and then there was a DQ. Yeah, I'm just gonna assume that was a 2-star match, but I love all the guys in this match. Next was a Street Profits promo. It was good, but it needed more Wale. Then Tamina pins Carmella to win the 24/7 European TV title, and then punches Tyler Breeze in the face. And then her and R-Truth ask Street Profits, where'd they go? Where'd Tamina go? And they totally Looney Tunes him. Montez points to the left, to the right, and the other guy, I always forget his goddamn name. Or we'll call him Ice. He points to the left, and she's just like, thanks, fam, sarcastically, and walks away. Baron Corbin and Chad Gable in an unannounced match. It was short and slow, but the crowd popped for Chad Gable winning. I would have maybe given this 3, but you know, it was just kind of boring. They've wrestled three or 4 times now, and it just wasn't as good as the other times. I gave it 2.25. Bayley versus Charlotte. It was short. Charlotte wins, and boo, man, whatever, 2 stars, and then okay. My God. I don't know how I'm supposed to articulate my feelings about this, because unless you watch Raw, you won't get it. Because The Fiend is the most consistently over thing on the show. People pop for the Firefly Funhouse. They usually the Bray Wyatt segments have the most watches on their YouTube, with a couple exceptions. But like 8 times out of 10, it's the case. He sold a lot of merch. He's made a lot of money. He's super over. The chants are over. The puppets are over. And this match, looking at it objectively, even if the Fiend had won, it wasn't that good of a match. Okay, I can admit that. But I would have been fine with the way the match went if the Fiend had won. Because look, it starts off, they had that Sin Cara red tint over the ring, which was, yeah, kind of hammy and cheesy and whatever, but I was like, okay, you know what? It shows how big of a deal Bray Wyatt is, and it fits the mood and atmosphere, and I thought it actually did. So I was like, okay, you know what? It's cheese, but whatever. So throughout the match, Bray is no-selling everything Seth is throwing at him. Kendo stick. There's a point where he eats a curb stomp and gets up, and then it's after he gets pedigreed that's where things go wrong. Because then after that, Seth Rollins curb stomps him 7 times and Fiend keeps getting back up, and I'm like, okay, build him up to be a monster, wins his comeback. Seth Rollins goes out to the ring, grabs a chair, and then stands over the Fiend, hits him directly in the face while he's laying on the ground. Then he goes outside, grabs a ladder, puts the ladder on Bray Wyatt, hits the ladder that's on his face. Then he puts the chair on the ladder that's on his face, goes out, goes grab a toolbox, and then he hits the chair that's on the ladder. And then he goes outside and he gets a sledgehammer. And he gets the sledgehammer, and he hits the toolbox that's on the chair that's on the ladder. And then the ref calls for the DQ. I thought, oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? Because on WWE's Twitter, they asked a question. They're like, hey, how do you think the match is going to end? They had pinfall, submission, and then they had DQ. And I was just like, okay, no, they're not going to end this match in a DQ. Not because... Yeah, Yowie Wowie's my text notification. And I kept saying, no, they're not going to do this. Not because I genuinely didn't think they weren't going to do it, but because I was praying and hoping desperately. I was praying before the cross. I was kneeling before Siddhartha. I was channeling various crystals and chakras. I was engaging in several different pagan seances. I was consulting the midi-chlorians. And I was just like, please, for the love of anything in this world, I'm asking you on a stack of Bibles. I'm asking you on a stack of Korans. I'm asking you on the Satan Bible. I'm asking you on with my hand laying on top of 9 Inch Nails' downward spiral. I am begging you not to end the match like that. And they did. And this crowd was turning on Seth, but there's a difference. There was a difference between when they turned on Seth and then when they turned on Seth after the match. So there was a point where the crowd was booing Seth because he was owning the Fiend, but it was the kind of booing that if the Fiend made a comeback, they would have cheered. They would have popped. And if the Fiend won, they would have exploded. And then despite the absurdity of the match, everyone could have been like, you know what? They really kept you in suspense that Fiend was going to lose. But he won. So, okay, 7-star match, metaphorically. And to prove that, once the DQ started, once it was cued, nothing was going to salvage that crowd. Nothing. You had AEW chants. You had restart the match chants. People really want the Fiend to win. It's so tangible. WWE has the makings of the true, real next bona fide superstar. But I don't know if they got cold feet or whatever stupid bullshit, but they didn't do it. And when the Fiend popped back up and put Seth in the mandible claw and then beat him up outside and all that crap, they didn't give a damn. They didn't give a damn what Brace did, what nobody did, no matter how beat up Seth got. Everybody was pissed, let down, and disappointed. Me too, by the way, if you couldn't tell. There were AEW chants. Oh my Jesus Christ, dude. This was so bad. And there's only 2 things that can happen from this. And it sucks that I won't be here to watch Raw tomorrow because I'll be in LA. So I'll have to try and get my review after that on Thursday or whatever, or Friday. Same with the Monday Night Wars thing. The Wednesday Night Wars thing. What sucks about it is that there's only 2 ways they can go. They're the complete exact opposites. It's like Sith Lord bullshit. It only deals in absolutes. Either one, people are so outraged about this that they turn on Seth. And then they cheer the Fiend like crazy. They cheer Bray Wyatt like crazy whenever he's on. They start doing a Daniel Bryan type of crap. Or the crowd turns on Seth Rollins and the crowd doesn't care about WWE anymore. So, well, I meant to say the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, but no, that's the worst case scenario. Either way, Seth Rollins has been turned on. Seth Rollins is now Roman Reigns. You heard it here first. I may put that in the title of this video. Seth Rollins is now Roman Reigns from like 3-4 years ago. And it was so disappointing. It was ridiculous. It was honestly ridiculous. And again, I hate being overly negative about this company because everybody does it to the point to where it's fucking generic. But fair is fair. Criticism is valid criticism. And I can't vouch for anyone else, but I can, and I know some people say this, but I genuinely mean this. It comes from a place it comes from a place of fucking love, okay? This company has given me so many memories. It's given me my favorite wrestlers of all time. Even when in my adult years I discovered New Japan, PWG, and all, even Impact when it was good, Ring of Honor, CZW, and I started working at once in a while. I helped out my own local wrestling promotion, Sencal Pro Wrestling, and I went to all these other things. It was WWE still has my favorites of all time: Undertaker, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, and sure, I know they were from other places and they made it big here. Undertaker was probably Mark Calloway was probably a nobody before the Undertaker. I mean, I've looked up his old matches when he was me, Mark Callis, and other stuff. But my point is that this show, this company, when it wants to, gives us the greatest tangible characters in all of pro wrestling, and they can beat anybody. I mean, Rock in his prime, as far as overness and charisma, could probably have beaten Okada now at his peak. Stone Cold Steve Austin at his peak could probably have beaten Suzuki at his peak. As far as popularity and love goes, wrestling is difficult to explain to people because people love these characters. They love Undertaker. They loved Eddie. They even loved Triple H, even before NXT, saved him from being a complete asshole. People love Chris Jericho. They love Cody. They love Omega. They love the Bucks. They love The Fiend. People love John Cena. People love Roman Reigns. People love Seth Rollins, John Moxley. Okada. They love Tanahashi. People love Zandig, for God's sake. When wrestling's great, it's the greatest thing ever. And I'll throw out some names you don't know. Jake Atlas, freaking Jungle Boy, Jonathan Gresham, these, what's his name? Caveman from Australia, Brody King, Robbie Eagles. What's that one tag team? Aussie Out, the Rascals. These people, when they're great wrestlers and these characters, they connect. They're great. They're beautiful. They're wonderful. You love them. Wrestlers become just as real and tangible. Someone like Hulk Hogan is as real a thing in the sense his character is as real as Mickey Mouse, as Darth Vader, as Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi, as Batman, as Iron Man, as Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? As Goku, as Super Mario, as pretty much the whole cast of Final Fantasy VII, and at the very least Kefka from 6. But it's just, and I love Bray Wyatt. I've always loved Bray Wyatt. The minute he debuted the Wyatt family shtick on NXT all those years ago, I was hooked. I thought to myself, I knew back then, and people said it, but I knew back then, this is the guy that can take the Taker's torch. This is the guy. This is your creepy, supernatural, whatever guy. This is the guy. He's always been the guy. I know he's not in shape, and he's not as pretty as Seth and Roman, but when he gets the people, he really gets the people. And what killed him in his last character was that he never won. You know what I mean? He beat Kane in an Inferno match, but he lost to John Cena at WrestleMania. And sure, the Wyatt family beat the Shield 3 times out of 4, but he kept losing and losing. Now, technically, The Fiend won this match because of the DQ. But, God, I'm praying with all of my heart that The Fiend isn't ruined, that The Fiend isn't wrecked. Because I want to see this character succeed. It's so unique. It's so creative. It's such a breath of fresh air. And I'm hoping to God they didn't ruin it. Because I don't... Oh, man. Well... That's my review of Hell in the Cell. I don't want to say -5 stars because it's probably not, but it's just it's 0 stars there. That's what this is. Anyway, you've listened to my fat ass cry long enough. Yeah, so I'll be back Thursday and Friday. Like I said, I'm out of town starting tomorrow, so I won't be able to get my reviews for Raw and the Wednesday Night Wars out on time. But the week afterwards, I'll be back on a set schedule. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, we have a Facebook page, but you can also find us at youtube.com, podbean.com. I'm trying to get us on other platforms as well, but it takes time. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Somewhere down the road, down the line, somewhere in time. Adios.